All right, we are super official and recording. And hello, everybody. Chance Paladin here. Whether you're watching on YouTube or DLive, I just want to say thank you and I appreciate you. And you are awesome and fantastic. This is the first book in my series, PWN Affliction. And thank you to Proud Grandma for prompting me quite firmly and sternly to do this. I was going to have text-to-speech do it, but if people are going to cheer me on, then I can do anything. So, without further ado, here we go. This is book number 1, Recycled, of the PWN Affliction series. Book number 1, this is the 2.5 edition. Someday it'll be a 2.6 edition. This is an urban survival story by yours truly, Chance Paladin. And this was originally written in the end of 2016, but I finished it in 2017. Latest update is right now in 2020. All rights are reserved. No portion of this book may be reproduced in any form without permission from the author, except as permitted by U.S. copyright law. And I would like to thank my wonderful wife, who I love very much, for being patient with me, even at the most difficult of times. Also, thank you to my cats for not walking on my keyboard too much while I'm trying to write these stories for you fantastic readers. Reminder that this is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents are either the product of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living, dead, or actual events are purely coincidental. Also, this book is in memory of Anne-Marie. Justice was finally served, and someday, if you guys want offline, I will explain to you what all that's about. So, forward. The following story, the beginning of a series, takes place in a fictional location in the Pacific Northwest in the not-too-distant future. A region that used to be okay to raise kids in at some point through equal parts indifference and let someone else handle it while we go to work. We ended up in a society where values that used to keep us safe are quickly becoming perceived as the enemy. Inadequacy is being projected outward, and what used to keep us independent has become antiquated and brittle. Information passed down from generation to the next in the past now requires learning nearly from scratch. I'm tired of having to learn and rebuild key knowledge from scratch while our infrastructure crumbles around us, because some things once lost might take a very long time to rebuild again. Chapter 1. Getting Up. Home, subdivision, night of the collapse in the winter months. There I was one night, unable to sleep like usual. My cat wouldn't stop playing with a plastic bag on the floor. I guess she liked the noise it made. I'd moan for her to stop, half asleep, and she would, politely as always, waiting for a protective cocoon of limbo to show around my aura before she would start pat-patting the plastic again, thinking that was good enough to not bug me. Wrong again, cat. You know I sleep light. Third or fourth time it happened again, and I gave up trying to reason with the cat. I can't be mad at her. After all, she's special. She's actually had a rougher life than I have. She came from one of those cat halfway houses that pretend like they're saving the cats when really the so-called caretakers don't take care of the animals at all. But man, do they turn into invasive snoops as if they are qualified animal care inspectors. What a joke. My cat had very little care given to her at the temporary living facility, and I'll spare you, don't worry. Suffice it to say, the poor cat had suffered some trauma with her prior owners, which was sad because all the cat ever showed me was unconditional love. The cat, bless her heart, didn't know the meaning of too much love. So I figured out her special needs, and that's behind her now, and she's here passing on her special brand of personality onto me. So now I'm up, and the cat is confused that I'm up at a weird hour and forgets all about patting her plastic grocery bag for the second night in a row and just sits there. I put my glasses on and check her food and water, and of course both are at acceptable levels. My cat hardly eats anything, and her water is more for having staring contests into and then splashing everywhere, than wanting more water. Yeah, I know, anyway, you understand, she's a special cat. Now, however, the cat's break time is over and she resumes her attention to the bag. She seems to actually be upset at the bag at this point, like she isn't going to come into the other room now to follow me like she normally would. The situation would remain an issue unless the bag is removed, so I pick up the bag and stuff it into my pocket to later combine it with other similar bags I keep together. With barely the shred of a thought of what the bag could be doing in the room to begin with, I remembered that I'd been having those weird stupid dreams again about having a crappy job I don't like. This was at least the third or fourth night in a row, these awful dreams about a manager that's never happy with the hours I put in. Nobody else ever got challenged on their hours, only me, no matter how many hours I put in. Then if I work too many hours, I'm inefficient, whatever. Only one thing, the manager is close to 2 hours late every day and took a nearly 2-hour lunch with their friends. They also eat at their desk while emailing and socializing, then leave close to 2 hours early. Not before chewing me out about my billed hours for the week, of course. Talk about anxiety. I have the same dream every night and I can't shake it, so maybe it's time for a walk. I put on my normal going out clothes, my hat, flashlight, sidearm, and blades. That's my normal everyday carry, so don't judge me. I make my own safe space. So I take everything and stick it in its proper concealed area, then I throw an extra mag in my pocket. I go to grab my phone and realize it hadn't been plugged in overnight. I look at the battery and I'm pleasantly surprised to see it's about 3/4 power. This phone has such a great battery, I thought to myself. Built to last. I throw on my walking slippers and a hoodie, check all my pockets and belts for the important bits, and with everything in place, out I go into the inky yonder. Chapter 2. Going for a short walk. First, getting out the door, I lock the door. Gotta lock the door, nothing worse than worrying all day if you left your front door unlocked. Same with locking the car door. So many home invasions and car break-ins lately. Anyway, looking out into the world, it was a little drizzly out. Sort of drizzle, sort of fog, just the way I like it. The 2 infrequent street lamps were the only motivation to keep going, really. The flashlight stayed in a lower pocket of my khakis in case anything got too dark or needing to flag someone down or see in a dark place or whatever. So I just go with the natural light and letting my eyes adjust as appropriate. Everything was nice and quiet for a few blocks, then I realized something the further away I got from my home. I noticed I hadn't eaten anything before I left. I wasn't feeling weak yet, but decided to err on the safe side. I started heading towards the 24-hour convenience market that was nearby to pick up some Zorn bars. They were my favorite because they kept my sugar, protein, and carbs all at a nice balanced rate instead of giving me a big jolt up, only then to give me a big crash that left me feeling even worse than before. As I was thinking about how great a nice tasty graham cracker and peanut butter Zorn bar would be, and as my energy and sugar levels were definitely starting to go down, there was something else I started to notice out of my peripherals. The light, not all of them mind you, but some of the streetlights behind me had started to blip out. It wasn't so many to where it'd be an issue for a vehicle, but enough to cause pedestrians to need a flashlight because the curbs and such would be completely invisible in the darkness. The way forward seemed to have most of the street lights lit still. The main source of light coming from ahead of me was directed outward from the bright as heaven convenience store and gas station. The lights glowed off the sky and off every surface for several blocks in each direction. I ignored my instincts for some reason screaming at me to turn around and go home, and instead headed forward to get some nutrition before the walk back. As I started to get within a block from the Friendly Mart, I could hear several sirens in the distance. I stopped and turned behind me to try to angle my ears in the direction of the commotion, only to see that all but maybe 2 street lights had ceased to function. I assumed the sirens were headed in the direction of the cause, that the power company would be close behind, and that things would be resolved soon. I continued to finish the last steps across the parking lot towards the late night market. As I got to the doors, the sirens did not hold position or shut off. I stopped to listen to where they went as they faded too far in the distance to hear any longer. As I pondered that, it was time to enter the mini-market. Chapter 3. Shopping Attempt. Corner Store. Late Night. My night vision was having a lot of trouble adjusting to light from the gas station. It was too bright even for an afternoon sun in the summer. I squint to see through the semi-transparent doors because prior to opening them I can only see blurs due to the smudged up glass for the latest promos. I opened the door to see and hear better, wondering why there'd be extra people in the mini market when I only saw the clerk's car parked in his usual spot. Instead of being alone, though, there was a stressed-out man inside yelling and swinging his arms at the clerk. The rant was something about how responsibility of the social outage... Gosh darn it. The rant was something about how the responsibility of the... Crap, I don't know what that's supposed to say. I'm sorry. I better fix it.